Nice background. See? Oh! It disappeared.
There we go. Okay, so hello everybody. My name is Isaac Murdoch. I'm from Serpent River First Nation. And as always, when we're doing anything Anishinaabe, we always start off with a prayer. And we have our elder and linguist, Mary Wimigwans, with us. And so we're very blessed and very lucky to have her as we go through these language lessons. And so we're going to start with the prayer. And so at this point, we're going to take it over to Mary, and Mary will say the prayer for us.
Ani Kinoya. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Kshemnido, Creator, Kmiigwetrego, we thank you for the life we have. Pematsuin, Kinage Pematsuin, Wesyak, Kinagoya, and everybody. We pray that this session goes well and that everybody is comfortable and we all enjoy each other and just be happy. Shemnido, Nigwetwendam, Nigwetwendam Mampinungoya. I'm happy to be here with you. And Nick, okay, Nigwet.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mary. So in the Ojibwe language, what we're going to start off with is something called the alphabet. And it's different than the Roman English alphabet. So when we're learning Anishinaabemowin, there's certain sounds that we have to get our mouth used to. And so it takes practice. It's like using a muscle. You know, so if you're lifting weights every day, right? And you're like, rah, you're like lifting weights, your muscles get used to it. And they actually start to, you know, you'll have to put more weights on after a while because you're getting stronger and you're using those muscles more. And so part of what we do is we practice an alphabet. But this alphabet is different than the Roman English alphabet. And so even how it's spelt is different. And so that's definitely something we're going to do. And I'm going to get Mary to explain the Fierro system because that's what it's called. And so we're going to give Mary a chance to speak about the Fierro system.
The Fierro system was devised by Charles Fierro, and it's a double vowel alphabet, and it was made for the Minnesota Ojibwe in the States, Chippewa. The language teachers wanted something standard writing. So they started with the Fierro system. And sometimes the language teachers have spell one word one way and another time a different way. So it's kind of hard for the student to follow. And also there's so many different people, different teachers that go to classrooms, and they have different way of spelling, of writing, and even speaking. So the student has a hard time changing. And I think last but most important, if the language is if the students get mixed up in the way a person speaks or writes, there are so many differences in the language. And I'm just going to say it's hard to follow, but it's a great way to learn the language if we do the alphabet, if we continue to learn how to write it and to listen to the sounds. So many different dialects, but it's a fun way to learn. And learning the Ojibwe language involves learning the different dialects. Anyway,
No.
that's it.
Okay, so the Fierro system, just to recap, was a system, it's a writing system that's used to understand the written Ojibwe language. And so as second learners, you'll be learning Ojibwe through writing and through talking and hearing. And so that's how we're going to be learning. And so with this next part of our lesson, what we're going to do is, before we start, is we want to know who you are. And so Jody is going to moderate everybody to just say your name. Just say who you are. Before we start, it's important that we introduce ourselves. We're not going to do this every single class, but later on today in the lessons, we're going to learn how to actually introduce ourselves in Anishinaabe. But for right now, Jody, if you could moderate a quick introduction between all of us, that would be great before we start our alphabet. Naho.
Okay, great. So I had mentioned before, my name is Jody Williams. So, my name's Anaya. I'll just call out your names, and then if you want to introduce yourself, and maybe if you want to say what school you're at or going to, if maybe you're changing school. So I'll just call out your name, and you can unmute yourself and introduce yourself, and you're welcome to say where you're from if you'd like to as well. So Brooklyn.
I'm Brooklyn. I'm from St. Augustine.
Chase. Chase, do you want to introduce yourself? Okay, I'll come back to you. Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah. I guess I'm going to Conestoga because I just graduated from Harvard Health.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Waski? Oh, Chase, are you back?
Yeah, sorry, my what do you call it? It wasn't letting me unmute myself.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Chase Schwannard. I'm from St. Thomas Aquinas.
Waski?
Hi, I'm Waski. I go to Our Lady of Mount Carmel.
Thura? Did I pronounce your name right?
No, it's Thuraya.
Thuraya, sorry.
Hi, I'm Thuraya. I go to Our Lady of Mount Carmel.
Marcus S.
Marcus, and I go to St. Paul's.
Philip?
Hi, I'm Philip. I go to St. Michael's Secondary.
Jacob?
Hi, I'm Jacob, and I'm going to the University of Waterloo.
Kylie?
Hi, I'm Kylie. I go to St. Thomas Aquinas.
Chelsea?
Hi, I'm Chelsea. I go to St. Joan of Arc.
Is it Angelica or Angelica?
Angelica.
Angelica.
Hi, I'm Angelica. I just graduated from Iona, but I'm going next year to University of Guelph.
Great. Matthew?
Hi, my name is Matthew, and I go to Iona Catholic Secondary School.
Mitchell?
Hi, my name is Mitchell, and I go to Iona.
Natalie?
Hi, I'm Natalie, and I go to Hall.
Gabe?
I'm Gabriel, and I go to St. Michael's Secondary.
Rhea?
I'm Rhea, I go to Loyola.
Megan?
Hi, I'm Megan, and I go to Hall.
Marcus?
Hi, I'm Marcus, and I go to St. Thomas Aquinas.
Elmiro?
I'm Elmiro, and I go to St. Thomas Aquinas.
Sorry, say your name one more time?
It's Elmiro.
Elmiro, okay. Is Jessica online? Let's see her. No. Okay, Cheyenne?
Hi, I'm Cheyenne. I just graduated from St. Edmund Campion, and in November, January, however they're working it out, I'm going to Holland College in Princeton, Rhode Island.
Wow. Is Raymond online? And then, oh, Brooklyn, did I say you already?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going off of 2 lists here. Okay, great. I think, did I miss anyone?
Your daughter?
Yeah, she was right there. She said hi already.
Okay. Okay, that's good. So let us continue our language journey. So thank you for introducing yourselves, everybody. It's really important that we know who you are. Hopefully over the next few weeks, we'll develop a relationship, a language relationship, which will be really cool. So just like everything, it's practice and repetition. And so at this time, I'm going to ask Jody if she can post up the alphabet. And once that gets posted up, what's going to happen is you're going to stay muted, and you're going to turn your video and your voice off. But when we're practicing this, I'm going to be a participant too. And so Mary's going to recite the alphabet, and I'm going to repeat after her. And so you have this thing in front of you, which is the alphabet that we're going to be doing. And so when Mary says it, I'm going to repeat it, and you're going to repeat it with me. And we're going to do this a couple of times so that we get familiar with it. So with that, we'll start. So if you can stop your videos and mute yourselves, we will start right away with the alphabet. And so, Mary, take it away. A, E, O, E, O.
Ba, bi, bo, be.
Ba, bi, bo, be.
Ba, be, bo.
Ba, be, bo.
Da, di, do, de.
Da, di, do, de.
Da, de, do.
Da, de, do.
Ga, gi, go, ge.
Ga, gi, go, ge.
Ga, ge, go.
Ga, ge, go.
Ja, ji, jo, je.
Ja, ji, jo, je.
Ja, je, jo.
Ja, je, jo.
Ka, ki, ko, ke.
Ka, ki, ko, ke.
Ka, ke, ko.
Ka, ke, ko.
Ma, mi, mo, me.
Ma, mi, mo, me.
Ma, me, mo.
Ma, me, mo.
Na, ni, no, ne.
Na, ni, no, ne.
Na, ne, no.
Na, ne, no.
Pa, pi, po, pe.
Pa, pi, po, pe.
Pa, pe, po.
Pa, pe, po.
Sa, si, so, se.
Sa, si, so, se.
Sa, se, so.
Sa, se, so.
Ta, ti, to, te.
Ta, ti, to, te.
Ta, te, to.
Ta, te, to.
Wa, we, wo, we.
Wa, we, wo, we.
Wa, we, wo.
Wa, we, wo.
Ya, yi, yo, ye.
Ya, yi, yo, ye.
Ya, ye, yo.
Ya, ye, yo.
Za, zi, zo, ze.
Za, zi, zo, ze.
Za, ze, zo.
Za, ze, zo.
Cha, chi, cho, che.
Cha, chi, cho, che.
Cha, che, cho.
Cha, che, cho.
Sha, shi, sho, she.
Sha, shi, sho, she.
Sha, she, sho.
Sha, she, sho.
Ja, ji, jo, je.
Ja, ji, jo, je.
Je, jo.
Ja, je, jo. Okay, so Jody, if you could put me on screen for a minute. So everybody can hear me okay? So in the writing system, so here's where the difference is than the Roman alphabet. And so when you're looking at the writing system, you'll notice that the double A's make an ah sound. So when you put a B in front of it, ba. So of course in the Roman alphabet, it's different. So the double A's make an ah. So ba, da, ga, ja, ka. The double E's, they make an E sound. Or double I, sorry. The double I makes an E sound, like B, D, gi, ki. The double O is like oh, oh, oh. And so ba, do, go, ko, oh. So that's the noise it makes, a double O. The E is also a long vowel word, eh. So just one E is eh. And so when you go ba, bi, bo, be, those are the long vowels. The short vowels are the I, the A, and the O. So it's ah, eh, o, ah, eh, o. So when you put the B in front of it, it's ba, bi, bo, be, ba, be, bo. And so we're going to do it again, but this time I want you really to say it with me. So you cannot not say it. You have to say it because you have to get the muscles in your mouth to be able to say those sounds. And that's the thing about Ojibwe is it can be very, very beautiful language, but you have to get the muscles in your mouth to recognize those different sounds. And so we're going to go through this again. The police are here, thank God, getting the bear. But as we do this, as I'm going through this, I want you to say it with me. So don't even pretend. I can't see you. I have to take your word on it. And Sarah Morin, are you there? Okay, so I can't see you, but we have to take your word that you're doing it. And so you have to actually say it with me. And so we're going to go through the alphabet one more time. And when we do it, say it loud and proud. Okay, Mary, take it away.
Ba, bi, bo, be.
Ba, bi, bo, be.
Ba, be, bo.
Ba, be, bo.
Da, di, do, da.
Da, di, do, da.
Da, no, da, de, do.
Da, de, do.
Ga, gi, go, ga.
Ga, gi, go, ge.
Ga, ge, go.
Ga, ge, go.
Ja, ji, jo, ja.
Ja, ji, jo, je.
Ja, je, jo.
Ja, je, jo.
Ka, ki, ko, ke.
Ka, ki, ko, ke.
Ka, ke, ko.
Ka, ke, ko.
Ma, mi, mo, me.
Ma, mi, mo, me.
Ma, me, mo.
Ma, me, mo.
Na, ni, no, ne.
Na, ni, no, ne.
Na, ne, no.
Na, ne, no.
Pa, pi, po, pe.
Pa, pi, po, pe.
Pa, pe, po.
Pa, pe, po.
Sa, si, so, se.
Sa, si, so, se.
Sa, se, so.
Sa, se, so.
Ta, ti, to, te.
Ta, ti, to, te.
Ta, te, to.
Ta, te, to.
Wa, we, wo, we.
Wa, we, wo, we.
Wa, we, wo.
Wa, we, wo.
Ya, yi, yo, ye.
Ya, yi, yo, ye.
Ya, ye, yo.
Ya, ye, yo.
Za, zi, zo, ze.
Za, zi, zo, ze.
Sa, se, so.
Za, ze, zo.
Cha, chi, cho, che.
Cha, chi, cho, che.
Cha, che, cho.
Cha, che, cho.
Ja, ji, jo, je.
Sha, ji, zo, je.
Sha, she, sho.
Sha, she, sho.
Ja, ji, jo, je.
Ja, ji, zo, je.
Sha, she, sho.
Sha, she, sho. Okay, great. Okay, Jody, if you can bring me back up, that would be amazing. How did everybody do? So in the comment, my video is frozen for some reason. I don't know why. But the police are here.
Gone.
Oh, the police are gone. They must have scared the bear away.
Quiet.
Oh, they are, eh? Okay. Okay, so that's the Ojibwe alphabet. And again, that's something that we have to keep revisiting because those are the majority of the sounds that we're going to be using in Ojibwe. And there are other sounds. There's nasal sounds, there's sounds, there's all sorts of other sounds, but we're going to learn those as we go along. I know one of the good manners that we have as Ojibwe is if we're going to talk in front of a group of people, or we're introducing somebody, to somebody for our first time, we always introduce ourselves. And when you're doing a ceremonial greeting or an important greeting, usually we do it in the language. So for example, we'll get Mary to introduce herself in the language, and I'll introduce myself in the language. And we're actually going to learn these introductions. So we'll start with Mary.
Manisabet, Webi Wasnishnikas. Tokoning Donjaba. I am from, my name is Mary Elizabeth Wemigons. I am from South Bay, Manitoulin Island. Makondo Dem, my, what do you call that in English?
Clan.
Clan. My clan is a bear.
Oh. Ani Bojo, Manzanap Kinege go Nabe and Dishnakas. Kinabe Gukshabiga is Watan Don Jaba, Gnoje and Do Dem. Anishinaabe. So when we're introducing ourselves, we say usually our name, where we're from, and our clan. And what we're going to learn today is that. And if we have time, we're also going to learn where we live and also where we were born. But let's start with my name is. And so, Indigenous, my name is. So you can say Indigenous Isaac or Isaac Indigenous. It goes both ways. You could say either or. A lot of people will say their name and then Indigenous, but it, like I said, it goes both ways. And so we're gonna type down. Jody, do you have the words typed down? Should we type it in the chat?
Good idea. Do you need me to do that?
I typed it down already. So if you look at the chat, you're going to see the word Indigenous. That means my name is. So if you put your name in front of it, so say Bill Indigenous, Jody Indigenous, Franklin Indigenous, Sarah Indigenous, Bobby Boo Boo Ba Indigenous, if that's their name. So Indigenous means my name is. And so right now, I want everybody to say Indigenous. We're going to say it 10 times, so repeat after me. Indigenous, 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 Indigenous. I'm going to say it another time, but I'm going to slow it down. Indigenous, 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 Indigenous. So the word, when you break down the word, Indigenous, there's actually Indigenous. So there's Indigenous. There's 4 syllables. Indigenous. My name is. And so at this time, I want you to say your name and say Indigenous. And Jody, if you can moderate the group, we want to hear everybody say it. And be quick. And so try to be quick, say your name and say Indigenous. And then we're going to move on to the next part of our lesson.
Okay, so I'll call out the people and then you can unmute and say it. So Anea.
Anea Indigenous.
Waski.
Waski Indigenous.
Tharea.
The riot.
I think you may have been cut off. Do you want to do it again?
Sure, okay. The riot Indigenous.
Awesome. Chase.
Chase Indigenous.
Marcus S.
Marcus Indigenous.
Sarah.
Sarah Indigenous.
Brody. I thought I saw Brody come in, but maybe not. I thought he came in here. Are you there, Brody? Okay, maybe not. Philip.
Bill Indigenous.
Jacob.
Jacob Indigenous.
Kylie.
Kylie Indigenous.
Chelsea.
Chelsea Indigenous.
Angelica.
Angelica, Indigenous cause.
Matthew.
Matthew, Indigenous cause.
Mitchell.
Mitchell, Indigenous cause.
Natalie.
Natalie, Indigenous cause.
Gabe.
Gabriel, Indigenous cause.
Rhea.
Rhea, Indigenous cause.
Megan.
Megan, Indigenous cause.
Marcus.
Marcus, Indigenous cause.
Elmiro.
Indigenous cause.
Jessica. Oh, maybe Jessica's not here. Cheyenne.
Cheyenne, Indigenous cause.
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, Indigenous cause.
And then we have one more person who's joined us that missed the original round of introductions. So Raymond, do you want to jump in there? I know you just joined.
Raymond, Indigenous cause.
Awesome. And do you want to just say what school you're from, or maybe if you're finished and going to another school?
I'm from Iona Catholic Secondary School.
Great, welcome. Okay.
Okay, that was really good. Like, I don't think anybody said it any different. I mean, it was really good. I mean, everybody said it perfectly. Indigenous cause. And so, round of applause, yay! Okay, so that's the very first thing. And what I want you to do is write that down or type it down on your phone. So if you have like a notes in your phone or in your computer, make sure you keep a record of this. And we're also going to keep a record of this as well, and so that you're able to access this. But remember that, so your name and Indigenous cause. My name is Isaac, Isaac Indigenous cause, or Indigenous cause Isaac. And so the next lesson that we're going to do is where we're from. And I think that lots of times for Native people, when we say like, you know, where you're from, that's a pretty big thing. We want to know where you're from. And because it somehow relates us when we say that. And so that's the part of the traditional greetings that we have, is we tell people where we're from, because we know they're going to ask us if we don't say it. And so we're going to get Mary to say where we're from.
Donjaba. Doganing, Donjaba. Donjaba. Donjaba.
Okay, so Donjaba. So Mary said Doganing, Donjaba. So Doganing is where she's from, which is South Bay. Donjaba is she's saying I am from. So you could say, lots of times in the Anishinaabe language, things are backwards. You'll say, it's not like English, things are sometimes backwards. So I'll say, Ginebe Gukshabigajwat, in Donjaba. I am from the place where the serpents are painted on the rocks. And so in Donjaba, and we're actually going to write that down. And I'm going to write it down right here in Donjaba. And so that means I am from. I am from wherever you're from. And so at this time, I want everybody to repeat after me. We're going to say this 10 times. Indonjaba, 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 Gnabajing Indonjaba, Doganing Indonjaba, that just basically says, I am from that place. And so at this time, I want everybody to say it out loud right now. Repeat after me. Say Indonjaba 3 times. Indonjaba.
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 Indonjaba. Very good. Okay, Jody, let's moderate the group to say it. So if you're from, if you're born, this can be confusing for some people because maybe you weren't born on a res, or maybe you're not from a reservation. Maybe you're from a different country. Maybe, who knows? I don't know. Maybe you're from, it's just where you live. You know, so don't be too hung up on trying to figure out where you're from if you don't really know. But just even where you live, if that's where you think you're from, then that's fine. So, but the important part is that we get the words right. So Jody, I'll get you to moderate the group to say Indonjaba and the name of where they're from. Nahal, miigwech.
Okay, here we go. Waski.
Wikwemkong in Donjaba.
Soraya.
Wikwemkong and Donjaba.
Chase.
Brampton and Donjaba.
Marcus S.
Mississauga and Donjaba.
Sarah.
Orangeville and Donjaba.
Philip.
Bolton and Donjaba.
Jacob.
Brampton and Donjaba.
Kylie.
Brampton and Donjaba.
Chelsea.
Mississauga and Donjaba.
Angelica.
Mississauga and Donjaba.
Matthew.
Mississauga and Donjaba.
Mitchell.
Mississauga and Donjaba.
Natalie.
Brampton and Donjaba.
Gabriel.
Bolton and Donjaba.
Rhea.
Mississauga and Donjaba.
Megan.
Caledon and Donjaba.
Marcus.
Brampton and Donjaba.
Omero.
Brampton and Donjaba.
Cheyenne.
Brampton and Donjaba. Donjaba.
Raymond.
Mississauga and Donjaba.
Brooklyn.
Brampton and Donjaba.
Great. Back to you, Isaac.
That was amazing. You've all said it with accurate pronunciation. It was very well said, and me and Mary were very impressed. Eh, Mary?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. We got this. We got the okay from Mary. So we're going to continue on to the next part, which is our clan. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the clan system. The clan system is a governance structure that we use to help us be rooted in the earth, that helps us, helps remind us that we have responsibilities to the lands and waters, and that the animals are the leaders of us, and that we're just followers really to these animals because they understand the earth so much better than we do. And so for the Anishinaabe people, we have a clan system. And the clan system is basically your family will be attached to a certain animal. And it's been like that for generations and generations. And so for the most part, we follow our father's clan, but not in all situations. And so my dad is Fish Clan, and so I'm Fish Clan. And the reason why they say that we follow our father's clan is because the mother gives birth to us, and they say that they gave the men the responsibility of the clanship. because they already gave birth to us, and that it's only fair that the men take the responsibility of passing on the clanship. And so that's the teaching that I heard. Things do vary from community to community regarding clans, but it means family. And so we're going to learn my clan is from Mary. So Mary, how do you say my clan is?
Ndodem. Ndodem. Ndodem.
This is an easy one. We got it easy here. Indo them. And I'm going to type it down in the chat box. Whoops.
Ndodem. D-E-N.
I just made a typo. And there it is. So Indo them. Indo them. Indodem, my clan is. So my clan is actually the pike, like a fish. And so in the language, it's called Ganoje. Ganoje is how you say pike. And so when I say my clan is the pike, I would say Ganoje Indodem. Ganoje Indodem. You notice how all of these have an N in the beginning, because you're talking about yourself. But we're going to learn more about the grammar part after, and why there's a certain code to all of this, and we're going to explore that after. But right now, we're going to say the word indodem 10 times, and I want you to repeat after me. Indodem.
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 Okay, right on. That was really good. Okay, so if you don't know your clan, because not everybody knows their clan or identifies as a clan. So if you're one of those people where you don't know what your clan is, or it's not a part of your family traditions, then just pick an animal that you like. So you don't have to know the native name of the animal, but just pick an animal that you like and then say indodem afterwards. So for example, if I didn't know my clan, but I really admired the raccoon, then I would say Esban Dodem or Raccoon Dodem. My clan is the raccoon. The coon. Okay, so I want everybody to, I'm going to get Jody to moderate this part. So say an animal that is either that you do know that is your clan, or an animal that you favor, and then say in Dodem. And that means my clan is. And so Jody, take it away.
Okay, Anea.
Amic Indodem.
Waski.
Makwa and Dodem.
Thariah.
Makwa Indodem.
Chase.
Seal Indodem.
Marcus S.
Fox and Dodem.
Sarah.
Bear and Dodem.
Philip.
Bear and Dodem.
Jacob.
Caribou and Dodem.
Kylie.
Bear Indodem.
Chelsea.
Wolf Indodem.
Angelica.
Deer and Dodem.
Matthew.
Beaver in Dodem.
Mitchell.
Tiger and Dodem.
Natalie.
Monkey Indodem.
Gabe.
Unknown.
Megan.
Elephant Indodem.
Marcus.
Bear Indodem.
Almiro.
Box Indodem.
Cheyenne.
Moose Indodem.
Raymond.
Wolf Indodem.
Brooklyn.
Turtle Indodem.
That's great. Back to you, Isaac.
You missed me.
That
I'm
was
on your list.
Oh, who did I miss?
Rhea.
Rhea.
I don't know how you're on your list.
Oh my gosh, you're on my list. You're on there. I just went by you twice. Oh my god. I'm so sorry, Rhea.
I just wanted to make sure I was on there, you know?
Yes, you are. I don't know how you're right after Gabe on my list that I wrote down. Okay, sorry, go.
Oh, polar bear and Indodem.
Okay. Did I miss anybody else? That's terrible. I even had it written down in front of me and I still missed it. Okay, now over to you, Isaac.
Okay, great. So we're good now?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do all three of them together. And so remember, Indigenous cause, my name is, Ndonjaba, I am from, Ndodem, my clan is. So you can use, if you don't know the Indian, like your Indian name or your clan, you can say it in English, but the important part is to say the Indigenous cause, and Ndonjaba, and Ndodem. And so, hey, right on, Jody. So basic greeting is my name. So Indigenous cause, my name is. Ndonjaba, I am from. Ndodem, my clan is. So with that, we're going to have all of you say this. This is also going to pretty much conclude our language lesson, which I'm very proud of all of you. After we're done this, we're going to have Mary say a couple of words to greet us off. We're going to have a break. And then after the break, I'm going to tell you a story about the origin of the canoe. So back to speaking, back to getting our words out. And so Jody, I want you to moderate the group in saying all three of them. So for example, Isaac Indigenous cause, Serpent River and Ndonjaba, Pikefish and Ndodem. I'll say it one more time. Isaac Indigenous cause, Serpent River and Ndonjaba, Pikefish and Ndodem. My name is Isaac. I am from Serpent River. My clan is the Pikefish. And so Jody, take it away. Let's moderate the group to say those three things in a row.
Okay.
Take it away.
Here we go. Waski.
Waski Indigenous cause, Wikwemkong Indonjaba, Makwa Indodem.
Thoraya.
Thoraya Indigenous cause, Wikwem Kong Indojaba, Makwa Nodem.
Chase.
Chase Indigenous cause, Brampton Nidonjaba, and Seal Nindodem.
Marcus S.
Marcus Nandojakas, Mississauga Nandodem, and Mississauga Nandojaba, and Fox Nandodem.
Sarah.
Sarah Indigenous cause, Orangeville Nandonjaba,
Bear Nendonjam. Dem. And
Philip.
Phil Nabizhnikaz, Bolton Ndonjiba, Bear Ndodem.
Jacob.
Jacob Indigenous, Brampton Ndonjiba, Caribou Ndodem.
Kylie.
Kylie Indonchika, Brampton Indonjiba, Bear Indondem.
Chelsea.
Chelsea Nindojikas, Misaga Nidojiba, Wolf, and Nidodem.
Angelica.
Angelica Indigenous, Mississauga Indonjaba, Deer Indodem.
Matthew.
Matthew Indigenous, Mississauga Indonjiba, and Beaver Indodem.
Mitchell.
Mitchell Indigenous, Mississauga Indojaba, Tiger Indodem.
Natalie.
Natalie Indigenous, Brampton Indunjaba, Monkey Indonjum.
Gabe.
Gabriel Indigenous, Bolton Ndujaba, and I don't have a clan.
Rhea.
Rhea Indigenous, Mississauga and Donjaba, Polar Bear and Dolan.
Megan.
Megan Indigenous, Kaladin Indonjiba, Elephant Indodem.
Marcus.
Marcus Indigenous, Brampton and Dojaba, Bear and Dodum.
Omiro. Elmiro, are you still there? Did we lose him? Are you there? You're on mute.
What?
There you go.
One sec. Indigenous cause. Indonjiba.
Cheyenne.
Cheyenne Indigenous, Brampton Ndonjaba, Moose Indodem.
Raymond.
Raymond Indigenous, Mississauga Ndonjiba, Wolf Nendodem.
And Brooklyn.
Brooklyn Indigenous, Brampton Ndujinaba, Turtle Ndodem.
Amazing. Okay, Isaac, back to you now.
Amazing. That was really, really good. And so I just want to say just how incredibly proud I am of you, because you've actually had 3 sentences. I mean, they're pretty short sentences, but you said 3 sentences like no problem. And so next week, when we do our introductions again, this is going to be part of our practice. So I ain't going to see you for another 7 days when it comes to language. And so I want you to practice those so that when you introduce yourself next week, you'll be able to say, Isaac Indigenous, Serpent River and Donjaba, Gnoje and Dodem. You'll be able to say those 3 things. So keep practicing every time when you wake up, every time before you go to bed, every time before you eat something, every time before you read a book. Just whip it out really quick. It's only going to take you a couple minutes, not even like a minute. But if you keep doing it like a minute, like, several minutes a day, this stuff adds up. And by the end of the week, you'll be like, Isaac Indigenous, gonna be good shibigaj watan donjaba, gnoji and dodem. You'll be able to just spit it out because it'll be like you'll be well versed and well practiced. So really good lesson. We're gonna have Mary say the last words, of course, because she's our elder. And then after this, we're gonna have a break. And after the break, I'm gonna tell you about Canoe, the story about the canoe. So with that, we're going to.
Oh, sorry, wait, Isaac, one sec. There was, just
Yeah.
before we move back over to Mary, there was a question in the chat box. Can you pronounce the names of the animals that you wrote in the chat?
Yes. So bear, kwa. So it's mkwa. The M is like mkwa, mkwa, mkwa. Caribou, a dick. Fox, wagoosh. Moose is moose, moose. So it's almost the same. Deer, wawashkesh. Beaver, mick. Monkey, demakmeshe. Wolf, maingan. Maingan. And so you can, if your animal is not up here and you want to practice with an animal, then just go on to an Ojibwe online dictionary and find out the name of the animal you want to use, and then just include it into your clan. And so again, when you follow the alphabet, everything is in the alphabet. Wa. So I'm going to say deer. Remember when we did the wa, we, wo, we, wa, we, wo? Okay, so wa, shkesh. Wawashkesh. Wawashkesh. So you can learn how to pronunciate the words by the spelling. And that's why the Fierro system was created. Demak Meshin. Demak Meshin. Is that a double I?
Yes, I and each.
Okay, so wolf, Mayingun. And so just keep practicing, and it'll come to you. You'll get it. And so with that, we're going to give Mary the last words. And so Jody, is there a way that you can make her big on the screen? Because we just see a little tiny box.
So you have to, on your end,
I don't have that option.
Hold on. 1 second.
It's fine. We can see it.
Okay.
I don't have that
on my
option.
end. I don't know.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. The sounds are really good, and I really enjoy listening to all of you. Names are pretty, and they're very different, and I like that. Pronunciation was good. I want to thank everybody that was speaking, and to be happy today, and we'll see you next week. Chimigwach, miigwach.
Oh. Okay, there you have it, folks. Thank you very much. Jody, we're going to take a break. Just give people a chance to unwind all of that and to get ready for the story. So we're going to take a break, and in how many minutes, Jody?
Whatever you'd like. Let's see.
Okay, let's give it 10, 15 minute break.
Okay, so we'll come back at 2:20.
2:20, we'll come back and we will start again.
And I will post a link, that document that I had shared, that's in that shared folder. And I'm going to put a link to a really good online dictionary for you as well in that document.
Wonderful. Okay, we'll see everybody in a little bit. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. Did you have a good break?
For a second there, I thought the bear was back. When you turned on your microphone, you made a weird sound. I was like, oh no, the bear has come for Isaac.
So I'm just gonna grab a quick drink of water. It's hot in here. I feel like I'm in a sweat lodge, and I like a Lakota sweat lodge. Just give me 1 sec.
Okay, and also for everyone, I put the link to the shared folder in the chat box, but I'll also email it out again as well for everyone. And as we go along, I'll continue to add things into that shared folder. So in the folder, there are, there's an overview of the program, there's the alphabet, picture of the alphabet, and then a document that I've started with the words that Isaac has and Mary have shared with us so far. Also, these sessions are being recorded. So at the end of the session, I'll put in the recording into the shared folder as well, so that you can go back and listen to, if you want to hear what some of the sounds are, you can listen to the recording as well.
Okay, great. So are we ready to start again?
Ready.
Okay, so I'm going to close that. I don't have the 3 little things like you're talking about, Jody.
Well, what do you see on your screen?
Just a tiny little like thumbnail of myself.
So when you hover over the thumbnail, do 3 little squares show up?
Yes, but when I press the biggest one, it's like there's nothing, then there's like really, really small, and then I press the big one and it's like it becomes a little bit bigger.
I think you're in a different, okay, so are you in gallery view or speaker view?
I don't know.
Take a
That's
picture
good.
of what you see and send it to me with your phone.
Okay.
Then I'll be able to help you.
Technology. I'm going to send this to you right now. Jody Williams, send. But can you see me big though?
I can. Hey, hold on.
I mean, that's the main thing. It's just as long as people can see my
Oh, I
my
see.
big.
Yeah, we can see you, Big Isaac. It's just a matter of like, yeah.
Okay, I think I know what the problem is for you.
Because other times you had me on big.
It's actually on your end. So, okay, let me just go through this so I can. How do we get you?
If we can't figure it out, that's fine. I mean, if I can't figure it out, obviously.
Okay, what happens if you click on, so in your little your little square there, there's it looks like a little box to the top right.
Yeah, that's the one that it's on right now.
What happens if you click that?
It says exit full screen.
Try that.
Okay, I exited.
No.
And now it just made a window. But you did something before where I was big.
All right, hold on.
You can't click those three little things on my name and it'll make me big?
I'm gonna try something. Hold on.
There you go.
Okay. All right.
Perfect.
That work?
That worked. It worked perfect.
Weird. All right.
Okay, great. So I want to thank all of you for taking the time with Mary. She's such a blessing to have, and she's just so amazing, and we're really lucky to have Mary. She's been a language teacher for decades. She grew up with Anishinaabe, the language, as her first language. She's also a residential school survivor, and she's really incredible. she's been around long enough when World War II happened, and so we're just blessed to have Mary with us. She left already. She went to go back to our village, but I just wanted to give a big shout out to Mary. So I'm going to tell a story, and the story is the origin of the canoe, because as we all know, we're going to be working on the linguistics, and we're going to be learning how to build a canoe or understand it online. And so, of course, everything should start with language and a story. And so this is a story, this is the Ojibwe story of how the canoe came to be. And I also want to talk a little bit about, before we start, Ojibwe, Anishinaabe, Odawa, Potawatomi, Odishwagami. I want to talk about all these different groups of the Anishinaabe. And so with the Anishinaabe, that's who we are. But there's like little subgroups that belong to the Anishinaabe. Our languages are very, very similar, if not the same in some regions. And it's just that we were given certain responsibilities. And so years ago when before the settlers came, the old people predicted that the settlers were going to come and that we had to split up into three groups. And they say that the Ojibwe, which is what I am, were to be the philosophers, the stargazers, the storytellers, the incredible narrators, and ceremonial knowledge keepers. And the Ojibwe were given that role. And they say that the Potawatomi were to be the keepers of the fire, because a confederacy was made, which they called Nswe Shkode Win, which is the Three Fires Confederacy. And the Potawatomi, people say Potawatomi, but it's really Potawatomi. And that means the fire keepers, or the ones that blow the fires. And their job was to keep the confederacy tight between the Ojibwe, the Odawa, and the Potawatomi. And then you have Odawa Gimgong, which is like a store. Odawa is a trade. And so the Odawa were the traders, meaning not traitors, like they were traitors, get them, but they were traders, like let's barter, let's trade, let's make a deal. And so with the Anishinaabe, there is different groups amongst them, but we're all Anishinaabe. And our languages are all very, very similar. And so the different dialects, there are little bit differences, but everybody can understand each other. And so I just thought I'd let you know, because, that's going to come up, Odawa, Ojibwe, Potawatomi, or Jody learned a new one, which is Odishwagamigan, which is the side of the lake people. So there's different dialects and there's different subgroups of the Anishinaabe. This story that I'm going to tell you, all of the tribes share the same story about the creation of the canoe, all of the Anishinaabe tribes. And it's as follows. They say years and years ago, Nanabuju couldn't keep a wife. And of course, Nanabuju is this very powerful spirit. You know, Nana Buju's dad was the west wind. You know, Nana Buju's mother was half bear and half star being. And so Nana Buju was born with these great magical powers. And of course, we believe that Nana Buju was the creator of our landscapes, the lands and the sky and the stars, kind of like Maui on Moanda, like same sort of thing, trickster, sometimes not too good, but sometimes really super amazing. And so Nana Bush is one of those beings that come up in our stories, in our creation stories. And so we believe that Nana Buju helped create the world, but also all of the gifts and all of the amazing things that we have today, like the wigwam, the sacred pipe, the canoe, the baskets, how to make things. All of those things come from Nana Buju. Medicines, the different remedies, the different ceremonies, and the different lodges all came from Nana Buju. And so Nana Buju was gifted us with a lot. And so this is the story of how the canoe came to the Anishinaabe people by Nana Buju. They say Nana Buju couldn't keep a wife. There were several reasons. One of the reasons was that he was so mischievous, he was so tricksterish. That is a word, by the way, tricksterish, that no wife wanted to stay with him. So they would go with Nana Buju, they'd start dating him, and he would get himself into trouble somehow, or he'd disappear for long periods of time, and they would just move on. And also because he was a spirit, they couldn't get any of his wives pregnant. You know, so he needed a wife to settle down with and have babies with. And so Nana Buju, you know, seek counsel from his dad and went all the way to a place called Cha'ajbiking. And that place is the Rocky Mountains. That's our word for the Rocky Mountains, Cha'ajbiking. And he went all the way to that big mountain where his dad lived. And his dad was living in a cave. And of course, his dad is the west wind. So he goes into this cave. He finds his dad. And he says, Dad, I need a wife, and I can't seem to hold on to a human one. And his dad said, you know, maybe the ones over here are no good for you. Maybe you have to go across the big waters. Gichigaming. And that meant the ocean. So his dad told him, go across the ocean and, you know, go see if you can find a wife over there. Maybe they're different over there. Maybe you'll find one that'll stick around with you. And so Nana Buju took his father's instructions and started traveling east to Wabnung. Wabnung is east. And Nana Buju traveled there, you know, through the foothills, through the plains, through the forest, through the Great Lakes, up the St. Lawrence, and got to the shoreline. But Nana Buju had such a turbulent history with the serpents and those beings that live at the bottom of the lakes that he tried to start swimming across, and he got attacked by serpents, and he ended up killing them. And so he came back to shoreline and thought, I can't swim across the ocean. If I swim across the ocean, for sure, there's so many big things in the bottom, they're going to come up and just eat me. There's no way I can survive a trip like that. So Nana Buju, you know, sat on the shoreline for a long time, smoking his pipe, thinking, oh, I'm going to have a puff and think. And Nana Buju would take a puff and start thinking about, well, how can he get across to go find a wife? Finally, this little animal came up to him. And that animal was a beaver. And in the language, we call beaver a mick. A mick. That's how you say beaver. And so this little beaver came and said, what are you trying to do? How come you're sitting there? I've noticed you for many days there, sitting there smoking your pipe. I seen you try to swim across. What's going on here? What's the problem? Nanabuju said, my father instructed me to go across the ocean to find a wife. That maybe they'll be different over there. Because the ones around here don't like me. They won't want to stay with me. And so that beaver said, I have an idea. That beaver said, I'm really industrious. I can work good with my hands and my teeth. I can build anything. Let me see if I can build you something. And so the beaver started to make Nanabuju a canoe. And of course, that beaver worked many days building that canoe and built Nanabuju a nice canoe. And that beaver said, look, you've helped me in the past. I was there when you created everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to...
Oh, I can see it sticking out your elbow.
Okay, everybody, if I can get you to mute yourself, that would be great. So if you can put yourself on mute, that would be amazing. So anyway, the beaver said, I realized that you helped me in the past and you helped create everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this boat for you. And it did. And the beaver said, you know, once you're in that boat, the serpent isn't going to know that it's you. And they won't bother you. And so Nanabuju said, that's great. And of course, said, this will be my Jimon. And what the word Jimon means is it's low and it's traveling. And so that's the name for the canoe is Jimon. And so Nanabuju thought, well, how am I going to make this thing work? And he looked at the beaver. And he said, I know what I'm going to do. And he grabbed a stick. And he grabbed that stick. And at that time, the beavers didn't have a tail. And he grabbed that stick and he slapped that beaver right in the bum with that stick. And it gave that beaver a tail. And that stick, it turned into a paddle. And Nanabuju said, I'll use this paddle to get across, and the beaver can use its tail as a warning signal when enemies come. And that was the gift that Nanabuju gave the beaver for helping build the Jimon. And so Nanabuju started to paddle across the waters. And very quickly and very, very fast, Nanabuju paddled across the big waters. And guess what? Nanabuju found a wife. And Nanabuju grabbed the wife and started to paddle back with her. And went to a place called Buwajigaming. And Nanabuju paddled all the way up the St. Lawrence River, all the way through the Great Lakes, all the way up towards Manitoulin Island, Buwajigaming, and went to that place, the dreaming place. And Nanabuju parked his canoe there and left with his wife. And when you go to that place, you'll see the landscape. It goes down like this, like a canoe. And that's where Nanabuju parked his canoe and took off with his wife. Unfortunately, the wife did not stay with Nanabuju. The wife left him. So she didn't put up with him either. She ended up leaving him. But that's our origin story for the canoe. So Nanabuju ended up marrying the firekeeper's daughter, who lives in the sun. So they say that there's a fire keeper, somebody that keeps the fire going in the sun all the time. They call that person Shkode Nene. And Shkode Nene had a daughter who was a spirit, and she fell in love with Nanabuju, and Nanabuju fell in love with her, and they eventually got married, and they're living happily ever after right now. But that's the story. That's the canoe story. Does anybody have any questions about that story, about the origin of that story? And so, Jody, I'll get you to moderate any questions if there's any.
Sure, you guys can either pop them in the chat box or unmute yourself and ask a question.
And we want you to ask questions. So get involved, ask some questions, and because this is how we're going to learn about the canoe, because maybe one day you're going to be a canoe builder. And so it's important to ask questions, especially about Nanabuju and the story I told you. These stories go back thousands of years. There's archaeological evidence that the canoe has been around for as long as the human beings have been around on Turtle Island. And so we believe that this happened like way before the Ice Age even. And so the knowledge of the canoe and these stories were passed down from generation to generation for just thousands and thousands of years. Any questions about the canoe, about the story? You're not allowed to be shy because I'm not allowed to be. So you can't be shy either. Any comments? Okay, if there's none, that's fine. You know, I remember years ago, there was a man who used to make canoes. And he said that a long time ago, that you would apprentice under a canoe builder to learn how to make canoes. And they usually pick people that was their gift. They were able to make things with their hands. And they usually became the canoe builders. Because the canoe is like one of the, you had to have the most skill in like carving and an architect and all of that to be able to build a canoe. And so they, you know, hand chose these people as children, you know, because they had to be patient, they had to be articulate, they had to have precision, they had to know the teachings and the stories of the canoe, they had to be able to understand the wood, the grain of the wood, they had to understand temperature and pressure, they had to know the equilibrium, the balance of making a canoe by just staring at it. They would, you know, really understand their product. So a canoe is made up of many different things. It's made up of spruce roots. It's made up of spruce gum. It's made up of cedar. It's made up of birch bark. It's made up of sometimes birch or ash for your cross pieces. And so the builder would be extremely knowledgeable in all of those trees. And they would understand when to pick the bark, what the consistency of the bark, does the bark stretch, is the bark brittle, you know, are the eyes going to be a problem? Sometimes when you're building a canoe, you'll see those little lines on the birch bark. Those are called the eyes, and they understood the eyes very well. They'd say this would be good for baskets, but it's not good for a canoe. It'll leak over time. The eyes will pop open. And so they really studied their product. They understood the roots very well. They took time, and they say that their first canoe that they'd ever make, they would be paddled to an island, and they would be left there. And they would have to make a canoe by themselves on the island, and they would have to paddle back. And all of the materials that they would need would be on that island. And so and once they came back, they would, that person would have to give their first canoe away. And there would be some sort of an acknowledgement that they were now, you could trust this person to build you a canoe. Because a canoe held families. A canoe held babies and old people. A canoe held, items, goods, food. And so the canoes had to be able to withstand the weather. It had to withstand rapids. It had to withstand people and weight. And so the canoe was extremely important in the Ojibwe way of life, or in the Anishinaabeg way of life. And so, most of our time was on the water. Like seriously, like 70% of the time was in a canoe on the water. We traveled by the water. We got our food by the water. We hunted by the water. Everything was by the water. We lived by the water. We drank the water. We survived from the water. And so the canoe is what connected us to the water. And so it was considered a very sacred thing. And each canoe, it was said that it had its own spirit, and that the spirit of the canoe was very, very wise, sacred. And that if there was a canoe there, they would say, you have to be careful what you say. Because if you're talking, say you're gossiping, and you're just gossiping about somebody that you don't like. Well, they say that gossip will fill the canoe, and it'll get too heavy. And when you go into the water, it might tip or it might sink because you filled it up with gossip. They say that the canoe will hold those things inside of there. So it was very important for us to act respectful around the canoe. And it was important for us to treat the canoe like it was an elder. So just like when Mary was here, that's how we would treat a canoe, like an elder. Because we know that it's a gift from Nanabuju, from the animals. We also know that it's a fundamental and critical part of our way of life on the land, our Anishinaabe Odswin, our way of life. And so the canoe is held in high regards. And the canoe builder was also respected and trusted. So if a canoe builder said, well, I'll build the canoe, then you knew, you could trust them that the canoe was going to be a solid canoe, that it wasn't going to fall apart in the water. And so when I was younger, I took upon the idea of learning how to build canoes. And it wasn't an easy task. At that time, there wasn't a lot of canoe builders. I had to source them out and volunteer my time to learn how to build canoes. And I basically became a laborer for canoe builders. And that's how I learned how to make the canoes. And I had to watch several of them being made. And I had to make several myself. And I had to fail miserably at many different things before I got things right. But once you have it, you got it. And the thing about building a canoe is you don't use a tape measure. You just use your hands and your arms and your eyes as measurements. And so when you're building a canoe, that's what you rely on, are those measurements. And for whatever reason, it comes out great, because you always think about something before you make a move. You think. So really, when you're canoe building, I'm going to say half your time is thinking. You got to sit there and you got to think. And that's how they were. All canoe builders did that. They'd sit there and they'd look at it and they'd think. And you just see them sitting down there looking at it. And that's an important part of building the canoe, is thinking and putting it, building it in your head, so that when you go ahead and make the cuts, that it's going to work out the way you wanted it to. So no use harvesting all that material and then cutting everything up and then realizing, well, you cut things too short and now you have to go back and get new materials. And so with canoe building, you think, you measure several times, You think it over in your head. And oftentimes canoe builders, I was told this when I was young. They said, build the canoe first in your mind. And, go sit down in the forest and just sit there and build it in your mind. Harvesting the bark, getting the roots, getting the sap, everything. Harvest all the materials. And then, split the cedar, start, carving your parts, start putting things together, make your gunwales, your inwales, make your ribs and your sheathing, make your nose stems, make your pegs. In your mind, you're doing that. And then, in the end, then you're kind of putting everything together. You're tying everything in, you're spruce rooting everything up, and you're making the canoe, but you do it in your mind. And when it comes time to do it, you just did it. And so it refreshes everything, and you're able to do it. And so a lot of canoe builders do that. A lot of the Anishinaabe canoe builders will do that, and that's something that we were taught, is to build it in your mind first. And once you see it being done, and you participate in building a canoe, then you'll be able to build one in your mind. And then if you can do that, then you'll be able to build it in real life. And so that's a different style of learning. And a lot of Anishinaabe, we would learn like that. They just wouldn't just do something, they'd think about it. And then they'd do it. And then it would come out good. And again, the canoe was very, very important because our whole life depended on it. There was different styles of canoe. So for example, you have like they call it the long nose or the Ojibwe canoe. And it's got like this big kind of curved, nose on it. And that's because there's a few reasons why. Partly is because it can handle the big waves. The nose of the canoe has to be able to dip into the waves without water coming in. So when you look at small, like for example, Cree river canoes, their canoes are smaller, thinner, and they have a smaller nose on them because they don't have to withstand the big waves that the Ojibways do on the big lakes. And so, our canoe building and the structure of them, the structural integrity of the canoe was built to according to our environment. And so around the Great Lakes, the big nose canoe, they call it, or the large stemmed canoe, was something that we favored very much, and we needed it. And as we go on in our lessons, I'm going to teach you why that canoe, the Ojibwe canoe, when you build it, when you make it, why it's so genius. It's a genius, it's an absolute genius piece of work. It's incredible. There's no nails in it. You don't nail anything together. It's just and the way that the bark is, so birch bark, you can rip it one way very easily, but you can't rip it the other way because it's too strong. And so you got to understand your bark, how you're using it, which way you're using it, where it gets its strength. And people that traveled in their canoes, they'd always have little buckets, one in the front and one in the back. And the bucket in the front would have sap and mixed with a little bit of fat and mixed with a little bit of coals. And if they sprung a leak, they were able to patch up their canoe using that fat and that spruce gum. And in the back of the canoe, they had a little pail, which was for their tobacco, because you never ever went anywhere without your tobacco and laying your tobacco down for safety. And so, again, the canoe, Gmon is what they call it, is an absolutely incredible, genius and, gift from Nanabuju and the Beaver. And do you have any questions about the canoe? And this time somebody's got to ask questions, because I just rambled on like forever about the canoe.
So there's a
Jody.
couple questions in the chat box here.
Okay.
Raymond, you had put one in. Did you want to unmute and ask your question?
Is the canoe that Nanabuju parked at that mountain still there?
Yes, it is. It's still there. That it's still there. That place where he parked the canoe, it's still there. I go there all the time. I'm actually going to go there this weekend. I'll take a picture of it and I'll show you.
Okay.
Good question, though.
Cool. Megan, do you want to ask your question? You had put one in the chat box.
Yeah, why couldn't he have children with like a human? Why is that not possible?
I really don't know because I don't think Nanabuju was human. He could shapeshift into human form, but they'd say that that they wouldn't get pregnant, or if they got pregnant, they would die. And so the rumor has it if you got pregnant by Nanabuju, you would die. And so people were very scared of him like that. And so just he was just too powerful for a human being. They just didn't jive. You know, it'd be like a monkey and an alpaca marrying.
Just not compatible. No.
Just not compatible. I mean, they'd have a lot of things to talk about, but for an actual marriage and family, the monkey and the alpaca would not make it. But
Good
that's a good question.
Good analogy. Philip, you had a question?
Yeah, I was just asking if Nanabuju was human.
Again, Nanabuju would go into human form, but was definitely not human. Definitely not. He just shapeshift into human form when speaking to humans. But Nanabuju would shapeshift into trees or rocks or stumps or snakes or frogs or whatever Nanabuju wanted to. And I'm not even exactly sure even of the gender of Nanabuju. So in the English language, we always say him, but in the language, it's Nanabuju is him or her. And so Nanabuju would just come into many different forms, and would most definitely be a human form and a male form, but not always. Not always. So Nanabuju was a trickster and would often, would turn into an old lady or would turn into a star or a cloud or, so gender had nothing to do with Nanabuju or its ability to turn into anything.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, good question.
Sorry, Kevin's now talking in the background. There's another question in the chat box about how long does it take to make a canoe?
It takes about 6 weeks. If you plug away at it and you pick away at it, about 6 weeks. It takes me 2 weeks to find the materials, to harvest the materials, and to get the materials prepped. And so that's finding the proper bark. So you have to remember, like I was saying before, the bark has to be able to have enough stretch in it. It has to be able to take a hit. It can't be booky, meaning that the bark itself can't split it, like come apart in layers. It has to be durable. The eyes have to be secured on it, and there can't be any knots or great big, growths or anything on the bark. And so with birch, that's hard to find. And so it takes a long time to find the bark. And so it takes, like I said, a couple of weeks to harvest all your materials. And that's in the bush, like constantly just going. And so there's a couple of weeks just getting the materials, which is the sap off the tree, because all of the seams where the barks get sewn together, all of those seams have to get gummed up with the spruce gum. And you have to make this spruce gum, which is, I mean, you have to prepare it. So you have to cook it, you have to strain it, you have to add the fat to it, you have to strain the fat even, you have to make a fire and get a certain kind of coals, you have to add the crushed coals to it. So there's a big process just in getting the sap done. And the roots, you have to like dig these roots by hand, and you have to dig 70 feet of them, or at least. And so you're like, and then you got to peel all of the roots. You have to split them. You have to actually split them in half. So the root gets split in half, which doubles the length of your quantity. And then once that's done, then you have to carve all your pieces. You have to carve all of the sticks that you're using, all of the ribs, all of your cross pieces, your nose stems, your in rails, your outer rails. You got to, like, your sheathing, everything gets carved. And with canoe building, you're even carving things, tools to help you make the canoe. And you got to carve a bunch of stakes, and you got to carve your building frame, and you got to carve a whole bunch of stuff before you even start building the canoe. And then of course the last part is, of course, putting it all together. And so for me, it takes about each one of those phases is about 2 weeks. So it takes me about 6 weeks. An experienced canoe builder, somebody that's built like 20 canoes, will pump a canoe out in probably a month. But for me, it just takes me a little bit longer, because this is going to be my 6th canoe. And so, but I also take my time, and it's just how I work. So for your answer, it could take anywhere from 3 weeks to 6 weeks. I'm the 6 weeks kind of a guy, but good question.
So that was one of the things that we originally had planned, was we were going to offer this summer program this summer, which obviously got canceled because of COVID, where you would have, if you had taken this course, you would have been actually able to help Isaac with the actual canoe build. But because of COVID, so we've switched it around a little bit, and Isaac's going to be showing you some of the process and the materials during this virtual session instead. But what we were hoping is, nobody really knows for sure yet what school is going to look like come the fall. But if there is an opportunity for us to do face-to-face learning, then we have a couple planned ideas for the fall. One is, this is a bit ambitious, but one would be to bring you all up to where Isaac lives, and have an overnight, several days where we'd stay overnight together. We call them culture camps, and finish the building of the canoe there. But if second option is Isaac would come down here to Southern Ontario, and we would work on the canoe probably either like as an after school project or weekend or something. But we don't really know yet what's going on, so we'll just kind of wait and see and play it by ear. And if we have to, we just postpone everything back to the following summer. But the idea is that we're also looking at it as an opportunity to get an actual high school credit through this type of learning as well. So right now, we're not doing it. There's a bursary, so you guys are getting paid to attend this, which is amazing. But we're hoping to also turn this into where you get a credit for high school as well. So some things to think about down the road.
Nice. Okay, so I guess we're going to take another break. We only have about 50 minutes left. And so when we come back, we're going to watch a video. It's going to be a canoe video. Jody, I sent you the video and email.
I didn't get it.
You didn't get it, eh? It's under Jody's Got 5.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll go to that one. I went to my
Okay.
other. Okay.
And we're going to watch a canoe video. And we might watch a couple of them because I want you to see what's the process of building the canoe is all about. And I'm going to be doing it the old school way. So I'm not using power tools. I'm not using anything like that. I'm going to be using it like how you see it in the video is actually how I'm building the canoe. It's actually the only way I know how to build a canoe. So we're going to take a 10, and after the 10, then we're going to come back. We're going to watch the video, and I want you to make comments. So when you're watching the video, get your questions ready or your comments. Or maybe you think something was really cool, or maybe you have questions on certain parts of the video. It's an older video, and so that's what I love about it. It's an older video, and it shows, they call them Indians, which is really not the terminology of them, but they say the Indians are making this canoe, and they recorded it, so it's going to be really good. So we'll take a 10, and we'll be back, and we will watch the video, and we will dive into Canoe World again. So Jody?
Yeah, so we'll say 3:20. And also, I'm going to send out a link to you all as well on another project that Isaac and I have worked on. I have a video of Isaac in a character form. So he's a virtual character, but he tells the story. It's actually the story is connected into the origins of the Milky Way, but it's also how Nanabush is born. So since he's already talked about it, I'll share that link to that video for you as well. If you're interested, you can check it out on your own time. So 3:20, we'll see you all back here. You're on mute, Isaac.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're going to get started. Jody, are you there and can you hear me?
Yep. And yes.
Great. So I sent you 2 videos.
I got one.
Okay, the other one I sent just
Yeah,
right
I
now.
went to both and it said it looked like one didn't send.
Okay, let me just check.
I got the 1946 one.
Okay, you got the 19, you got the other one too.
I only got the one.
It just went through right now.
Oh, okay, okay.
So we have one that's 25 minutes long, and we have one that's 8 minutes long. So we can watch the first one that's 8 minutes long,
Mm-hmm.
if you want, and then we can watch the other one during another class, because I think it's important to watch them both. But we'll watch the 8 minutes one long now, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay, and also just in case, sometimes what happens when we live stream videos, depending on your end when you're watching it, sometimes there's a lag or there might be some glitches when the video's playing. So I've put the video link in the chat box, and once we're done, I'm going to send an email out with all of like the resources and things we've talked about, just in case it's on your end, it's not coming out that great. And yeah, so all right, I will. I'm going to share the video and have it play for you now. Just give me a second.
Right on, Jody. Great tech support, Jody. And so for all of you students, I just want to thank you for joining us and for taking the time to do this program. By the time you're done, you're going to know about canoes, and you're going to be able to speak some Ojibwe, which is really cool. And so, get into the video, watch it, because this is actually what I'm really doing back at my camp. I'm not doing anything different. I'm doing it the same way that they are. And oftentimes I'll look at these old videos and I'll just sit there and watch them, and it gives me confidence for some reason when I watch them. So get your questions ready and enjoy the video.
À la claire fontaine m'en allant promener. À la claire fontaine m'en allant promener. J'ai trouvé l'eau si belle que je m'y suis baigné. Lui a longtemps que je t'aime, jamais je ne t'oublierai.
The Indians built their canoes from things of the forest. They built them of bark from the trees. Birch bark was strong and had natural gum that preserved it for long. In the eastern forests were many giant birches. They slit the bark down with a crooked knife, won in trade from the white men, whom they called gens de fer, people of iron. They pried it loose with a wedge of bark. This they did in June, when the sap was running and the bark was moist and loose on the tree. They called the bark wigwas. The craft has been handed down to the sons of Matt Bernard, an Algonquin chief who still knows the secret of building as the ancient Indians built. At their camp, Matt and Morris, his son, unrolled the bark, softening it with hot water poured from an iron pot. Such pots could be had from the traders at 1 beaver skin per pound of pot. Then Matt splits the sweet-smelling kijik, or cedar, to make a lining. He lays the strips of cedar on the bark to protect it during the building. The frame is made by tying together at each end 2 long strips of pliable wood, such as cedar or ash. They are tightly bound with thongs of peeled basswood bark. Cross pieces are fitted and tied into place. They lay this frame on the bark and anchor it in place with heavy stones. Then the canoe begins to take shape. They fold the ends up and hold them by a simple vise. They drive in stakes to hold the bark in shape. As they turn up the bark, they pour on hot water to keep it from splitting. A second strip of bark is slipped in to form the side of the craft. And then comes the longest task of all, a task that falls to the women, the sewing of seams in the bark. The sewing is done with watap, the stubborn spruce root pulled from the ground by the men. The tough fiber is carefully split. Matt follows the grain from side to side, making sure the division is even. Morris peels off the rough outer bark. After soaking in water, the watap is moist and soft for use. Holes are punched with a negus or bone awl. Matt's wife is Algonquin. She learned the skills of her grandparents, who were Indians of the woods. With them she lived in and from the forest. All the women work at the sewing, for the seams are long. While the women sew, the men go on with the building. A piece of cedar is split into many prongs and bent to form the bow piece. Matt binds it with basswood bark and ties it in such a way that it holds its curve. Then he trims the bark at the prow. He does not leave it high enough to catch the wind and thus make steering difficult. He cuts it to a curve that will skim the water easily. A gunwale is made to fit the canoe and fastened on with wooden pegs. Spruce root is used again as a binding. The gunwale must be strong and the binding firm, for a half-dozen voyageurs will entrust their lives to the hands that built the canoe. Meanwhile, strips of cedar for the ribs have been put to soak in the river. The wet cedar is easily bent. Each one is fitted to its own place in the body of the canoe. In this shape they dry, and Matt whittles the ends to fit in under the gunwale. Out in the woods again, the women gather Minai Gobigu, the thick gum that hardens in great drops on the trunk of the spruce tree. This will be used to make the seams watertight. First, the lumps of raw gum are placed in a bag and boiled in water. The bits of bark and dirt that cling to the gum are held in the bag, but the clear gum rises to the surface and is skimmed off with a birch bark spoon. The hot liquid gum is dropped into cold water and hardens immediately so that it can be pulled until every drop of water is gone and it turns to the color of wild honey. Again it is boiled over the fire, and this time tallow is added. It must be exactly the right amount to make the gum soft enough not to crack in the cold water and yet hard enough not to melt in the hot sun. At last the gum is ready for use and the seams are caulked on the inside with a simple brush made from the splayed end of an ashwood stick. The gum hardens on the seams, sealing the holes against the swift water. They line the canoe with cedar. It must be strong to keep the 2 tons of freight and the straining feet of the paddlers from pressing too hard against the bark and the root-sown seams. They drive the ribs home with a hammer made from a heavy crooked knot. Soon the canoe will be ready for launching, but first it must be caulked on the outside. Nat and his wife hand down to the new generation the skill of their hands and the lore of the woods. Here is a strong and graceful canoe built from things of the forest. Bark of the silver birch, sweet-scented cedar wood, stripped bark of the basswood tree, spruce gum and ashwood, spruce root from the earth, tallow from animals caught in the hunt. All these put together by Indian craftsmen to build a canoe that is native to Canada's rivers.
Dedans, sautons légère bergère, dansons-la légèrement. Moi qui suis garçon bandrille, je me suis engagé dedans. Moi qui suis garçon bandrille, je me suis engagé dedans. J'ai aperçu ma maîtresse qui dormait dans les hauts.
Okay. So that was quite a neat old video. And it didn't really get into detail about a lot because it's such a short video, but it kind of gave you an idea of what a canoe build looks like. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now. And so I've completely built my working area. I've got all my materials. I'm going to start working on the carving parts tomorrow. And this canoe will be built, or part of it will be built by the end of July. I'll have a good part of it built. And we are going to, of course, find out what we're going to do with COVID. We're going to bring it to down south, so people are coming up. But I'm not going to build it all the way because we want to be able to have the young people participate with building some of it. And so the idea is to bring it so far, and then we'll wait until the time has come. But I will have all of the parts made for when that happens. But I'm going to be bringing some extra parts with me, or I'll have extra parts to work with, just in case we're able to join together in real human form. Then we'll have parts for people to work with. One of the things I wanted to talk about was the tools used. And so they use something called a Walkman. Not like a Walkman that you put on like your earphones and you're jamming out, like, yeah, I'm listening to like some cool music. No, it's not a Walkman, it's Walkman. And what that is, it's a crooked knife. And so it's a knife that has a crooked blade on it. And you carve it going inward. So you're always pulling to yourself all the time. And next class, I'm going to actually show you my tools, so that you'll be able to see the tools that I'm using. And they're all handmade tools that I've made for the canoe. The splitting of the wood, even so for the cedar, that's all done with wedges. That's done with handmade clubs. And you got to split the cedar by hand. And so it's quite the gig. It's a beautiful way to spend the day working with your hands, creating this canoe. The art of canoe building was almost lost, and here's why. Years ago, the government created something called the Indian Act, which was a piece of legislation that forced the Indigenous people off the reserves or off the land, and onto the reserves, and where they could participate in a different kind of economy. And so the canoe was adapted for our sustainable economy of hunting and gathering and planting and harvesting. And so the Indian agents would often take the canoes and they would burn them because they didn't want the Indians to be on the land. They wanted them to be on the reserves, doing other types of work. They didn't want them to be a free roaming people in their canoes on the land. And so the art of canoe building almost disappeared. And so there was many people that remembered how to build the canoe, or they were just able to just barely keep that knowledge alive because of colonialism, because of the Indian Act, and because of mainstream society. Everything started to turn into consumerism. Vehicles, of course, took place, and people were driving instead of paddling. I grew up in an era where we were still paddling everywhere, all over the place. And so I still remember those days when, all we did was paddle everywhere. Those days are gone now, of course. But the canoe is coming back, but also not just the canoe, but the way of life on the land is also coming back for many Indigenous people across Turtle Island. People see the canoe as the vessel that's going to, take them out of colonialism into the land where they can, reroute themselves as who they are as Indigenous people. And so the canoe holds a lot of significance for us. It's a symbol of it's a symbol of like justice and liberty. It's a symbol of everything that the government tried to do to us. We're actually undoing it and taking our power back. There was a genocide that took place against Indigenous people, and getting rid of our canoes was really important for the government. But they never won. We're not defeated, and we're going to build a canoe. So with that, we definitely want to go into questions. And so, Jody, if you can moderate the questions, that would be great. And I will do my best to answer them. We only have so much time left.
Yeah. Okay. So there's some questions in the chat box. How many birch trees are needed to make a canoe?
Usually the one I'm making now is usually about two. The tree doesn't die when you take the bark off, by the way. So the tree survives. But I usually use about 2 trees to make it one canoe. I find the main piece, like the big main piece, and then you always need like the side panels on top on each side, which are usually about 6 to 8 inches big, maybe even up to 10 inches. So usually 2 trees is what I harvest. That's a very good question.
Another question is, do you make the canoe yourself or do you get help like the people in the video?
I usually make it like I usually always have a gang around me. So I usually have some help, but for the most part, I'm by myself just doing the work. My partner Shannon helped me get all the roots and helped me get bark and helped me, she's been a big help. So once I start building the canoe, a lot of people are going to want to watch, and I'll be like, hey man, don't just watch. Like grab a bone and start sowing some roots. So people will help out. Good question.
Another question here is, when the canoe is done, is it able to go straight in the water or do you have to wait a few days?
That's a really good question. You always want to take the canoe in the water first, and you want to test it for leaks. Because when you put the gum on there, and the gum dries, because you got to gum the inside and you got to gum the outside. So inside, beneath the sheathing, beneath the ribs, you can't see it, but that also has to get gummed. And then you got to gum the outside. And so, you got to test it for leaks, but it can go right in the water as soon as the gum dries. Like it can go right into the water. And you test it for leaks. And then after you're done testing it for leaks, you'll come back, you'll fix a couple of leaks, and then it's ready to go. And usually there's a ceremony of some sort to welcome the canoe into the family, and to offerings are made for everything that's taken for the canoe, and it's introduced to the family, because the canoe will be taking babies and old people and all sorts of people are going to be in it, and so it's just a way to it's a very important ceremony that we do to welcome that canoe and to be a part of our lives. It has an important job, but very good question.
Okay, so another question is, how long does a canoe usually last and how hard is it to maintain?
Everything that you use for the canoe is in the forest, and so it's everything is right there. And so if I have a birch bark canoe, then I'm going to make sure that I have sap, that it's already prepared. I'm going to make sure I have spruce roots that are dried and hung, just in case I need to make repairs on it in the future. I'll have those materials already handy. And the thing about a canoe is you can take it apart and you can replace and fix things, and you can patch things up. And so that's the great thing about a canoe, is everything is in the forest. It's free. You don't have to order it. You don't have to go to Amazon. So if you own a birch bark canoe, then you usually get those, like the roots, and you get some extra gum. You get some extra pieces of bark, because they'll last a long time. They'll last for like forever. If they're dry and they're kept like in good condition, they'll last forever. The roots, everything that you use, all you got to do is just soak it for a day or two, and it comes back to life again. A canoe will last a lifetime if it's taken care of. A long time ago, people used to dig holes in the ground, and they used to put their canoes in the holes, and they would cover it up with sticks and spruce boughs and keep their canoes like that. I've also heard that some people submerge the canoes in water, and they would be under the ice all winter, and they'd bring the canoe back up. So I've also heard that as well. I've never seen that. I've seen the other way, but that's what I've heard, and I have no reason not to believe them. But good question.
So there's lots of questions coming in now, which is great. How long does, oh no, I did that one. How much weight can a canoe hold? Which is similar to another question, is how many people are allowed on the canoe? So those are kind of two.
Yeah, that's a really good question. It depends, again, on the bark quality. It depends on how big the canoe, how wide it is. It depends on the, the ribs. You want to build a canoe that's able to hold a moose. So that's our standard, is you want to be able to put a moose in a canoe. And so, I'm guessing if it's a 14-foot canoe, you could put 2 people in their gear in there quite comfortably. A 16-foot canoe, maybe 3 people, an 18 or 19-foot canoe, you could put 4 people in there. And so it depends, and their gear. And so the longer the canoe is, the wider the canoe gets. And it also depends on the sheathing. And there is different styles of canoes. So there is ones that were specifically made for just for one person. They were 9 feet long. And that was just for them to cruise down the rivers and the creeks and go hunt animals. And so there was freight canoes too that were big. They were 19 feet long. And then the Michif people, or the Métis people, they started to make large canoes that were sometimes 34 or 40 feet long. And so it all depends on what you're using the canoe for. They weigh about, I'd say about a 14-foot canoe probably weighs about 60 pounds. The canoe that we're building now, I think, is 14 feet. And so it'll weigh about 60 pounds. It'll be able to fit 2 people in it. And it's going to be, you probably hold about 400 pounds in it, I guess. Good
So
questions.
it's pretty amazing when you think about, like, there's so much math going on here and physics. Like, to think about, you need to know like pounds per square inch, measurement, like all of these things that are happening. It's pretty amazing to think about how people were able to determine that just by using their head and their hands. So it's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Like the materials, you're gauging the materials, you're making sure that they're compatible for what you're making it for. You're definitely taking weight and also weather into account, because the canoe there is no nails in a canoe. And so the way that it's made, everything holds everything together. And so it's a fascinating, amazing concept how it's done. And so with the canoe, you have to really think about what you're doing. That's why I was saying before, as a canoe builder, you're like, you're sitting there thinking like for a long time, and you're building it, you're thinking of it being used, you're taking everything into account, because again, just imagine you're on the Great Lakes in a canoe, a birch bark canoe. You want that sucker to hold you, and you want it to hold your partner, and you want to make sure that you get from A to B without that thing falling apart.
Yeah, and the Great Lakes are, like, for those who may not know or have been on the Great Lakes, especially Lake Superior, like these are like almost mini oceans. Like these are not just little rivers and streams. These are massive, massive bodies of water to go across. So
yes,
I'll do some more questions if you want.
Okay, I do have a webinar at 5 o'clock.
Yes, okay, we'll just do a few more of these and then
at 4 o'clock.
we'll wrap up for the day.
And so I need to wrap up. I need to be out of here in 3 minutes.
Okay, well, how about we will park these questions and we will bring them back around, because we have 3 weeks of this. So we'll continue with your questions at the next session, and we'll wrap up for today, and I will follow up with an email to everybody with the links for everything that we talked about. And yeah, if there's any last words, Isaac?
Again, I'm really proud of you for taking the time to take the summer class, to take this online learning. Good for you. It shows good leadership. It shows that you're accountable in your own development, and learning the language, learning about this canoe is going to be a really great, enjoyable experience for you. And I just want to say I'm proud of everybody for joining up, and I'm really happy that you signed in. We got 20 people here. So it's great. More fun to come. Practice. Remember, Bob Gijik Indigenous, my name is. Ganabajing Ndonjaba, I come from. Ndodem, my clan is. So next time we see you, which is in 7 days, we should have those practiced. So have fun, be safe, social distance, wear a mask. When you need to, wash your food coming in from the grocery store, and take care of each other. And I'll see you in a week's time. And thank you, Cody.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. So Wednesday, we will be with Nancy Rowe. She will be spending Wednesday and Friday with us. So we'll see you all again. Same link, same time, 1 p.m. And we'll see you then. Have a good day, everyone.